This is Talking About Random Stuff podcast. We're serving you up lively, humorous dose of straight talk. It's just two friends talking about random stuff. Get connected. Stay tuned. Talking about random stuff. Tarts, baby, tarts. What's up, everybody?
Hey guys.
Hey, this is DJ Rock, is what I call myself, as the new host of this podcast. And my co-host is...
What's up? This is Coach MJ. How's everybody doing?
And this is Coach MJ. And one of the things that we wanted to do, we know that a lot of different people do different podcasts. We know a lot of people bring different values within their podcast. But, you know, me and Melanie, we definitely wanted to try to bring a new approach to how people may just receive information. We may not say anything different than anyone else. I don't think so, Melanie. What do you think? We could?
I don't know. I mean, we're pretty opinionated, so.
Yes, definitely that. So we may not say, you know, a lot of different things that are different from other people, or bring items or topics different, but we definitely will give our perspective, probably in a different way, just because a lot of people are educated, have degrees. Some people who don't have degrees. I think me and Melanie definitely give a great mixture of both of that. You know, yes. We both came from different environments and being able to take education and to a higher level. And that doesn't mean that just because you have a high level of education and you got a lot of degrees that you can give the best opinions neither. So yeah, so we know that, and we're excited. You know, it's the very first episode. Can you believe it?
Y'all get into it. Share.
But yeah, Melanie, we definitely have to get used to this. Share, comment, subscribe.
Subscribe, and if it's YouTube, hit the notification bell so you can be in on every new episode. But yes, definitely subscribe to this podcast. Yes.
Yeah, and as we start to go, you know, like you said, we're going to have it in the different all the different podcast services. So look for us on those different podcasts. Now, we're not going to tell you the name yet.
Right.
It's be coming soon. But
and why is that? Because we don't know what it is. We're going to keep it 100.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's a fact. We do not know. One time we're probably thinking too hard on it, but
right. Yeah.
But we know that we wanted to have a little bit of meaning and make sure that it serves the purpose of what we do.
I just thought of something. You're a coach. I'm a coach. You're an athletic coach. I mean, we're going to talk about who we are and all that in a minute, but it could have something to do with coaches. You know, just some kind of play on words. So
never know, you know. And we do have our different side things that we do, and that's a part of what we'll educate you guys and girls, and we'll make sure that you understand kind of what we do, and follow us on other platforms. This is just another tool for us to be able to, you know, give information to the world, you know, that's a little bit different. We know that there's 4 million other podcasts.
Wow. Is that really the number? Really, I don't know why that surprises me. That's insane.
It really
so the fact that I know about the podcast that I listen to is amazing, because that's a needle in a haystack.
Exactly.
4 million. Okay.
Yeah, so 4 million. 4 million podcasts. Yeah.
That's amazing. People like to hear one another talk. Talk radio used to be a thing. Well, I guess it probably still is a thing, but I guess this is
just a transition.
Tell them how we met, Vernon. They don't. Who are these people?
I don't know. Who do you want? Do you want to do it or me? It's up to you.
Well, let's see. So Vernon and I used to work for the same company.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, do not say the company.
I know that's right. We're not gonna say no names. It's the company, but if any of our friends are listening, you might know.
Yeah. For sure.
But anyway, what was that? Was that 2010? We were in that department together?
It was definitely 2010, but it was before then. So I'm going to give a time frame around 2008,
Okay.
2008.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's a long time ago. So
yeah,
we were on the same team. We actually started the team that we worked on together, the type of work we were doing, and we just became fast friends. We would sit and talk and just have a good time. You know how you meet people and you just connect with them, y'all. It's not that y'all think the same, have all the same opinions, but you have that same energy, or you have that same, you're just on the same wavelength. And so we would always talk, and even after he
great
left the company.
conversations too. Great
That's
conversations.
right. Great conversations. I was always trying to help him with his little relationships and stuff, and get
Hey,
he
hey,
probably helped me too, and talked about work. Oh, see, he over hiding.
yeah,
He's my neighbor too. He lives about 6 minutes away from me. But
yeah,
yeah, we worked together. There was even time he left. I guess we both left the department.
yep,
And then you eventually left the company, but we always stayed in touch, by instant messaging within the company, and then even outside on
yep.
Facebook. And then, so we've always had a really, really good relationship, but we used to work together.
Yes,
You
yes,
think
yes.
it was it '08? That seems far back, but
No, it
okay.
was '08, because the reason why I say it was '08, and the reason why I know it was '08, just
Mhm,
because when I left the company, I
mhm.
went into teaching and education. So that
Yeah.
was 2010 that I went to go teach.
Oh, okay. So then
So
you were gone 3 years, was it?
yeah, yeah, I was gone 3 years before I came back
three
to the
years
company.
before
Yeah,
you came back.
yeah.
How did you make, can we say what industry we worked in?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
they did.
yeah.
Okay, we were
I
in the
think it's a
health
part of who
insurance,
it's a part of who we are. We can
part of who we are. The company
definitely
doesn't own
it
that.
helped me a lot. That industry,
Yeah,
working for that company in that industry,
yeah,
helped me grow into the person on a technology side that I would have not, definitely probably wouldn't have went that path or had the opportunity. And
yeah.
as we
I
start to get
agree.
into what we do,
Mhm.
it definitely it plays a lot in kind of even how we are today a little bit.
Yeah, we were in the health insurance industry, and actually are. I'm actually back at the company for a temporary contract role. Vernon is there as well, but yeah, we were in it. So how did you make that transition from health insurance to teaching? You were just saying that kind of positioned you in a way. Some people may think, oh, it's just health insurance. What could you get from that? But how did that help you to kind of segue into being a teacher?
One of the things by working for the company that we work for, once I got on you have to understand how the health insurance company works. You
Mhm.
have different type of claims that may come in, claims that may get paid out. You have a lot of technology behind the scenes. You have customer service. You have technology processes that you have to build. You have to think about it from a clinical point of view, because there's clinical
Mhm.
things that has to do it, and all of this relies on data. All of it relies
Yes,
on data,
it does.
and
Mhm.
we know, like they say now, big data is the bacon. It
Yeah,
really is what pays everything now. I
yeah,
didn't understand it then, what,
yeah.
being involved, but one of the things I got from working in that department was able to work on a lot of databases and
Okay.
work with very simple stuff like access databases. And
Hmm.
once I
Yeah.
started understanding how
Access. Microsoft
access data,
Access, y'all.
hey, that's where my technology it began
Started.
a little
Yeah.
bit in college, but that's where I started getting a basic understanding of coding, understanding how to
Okay.
connect data together, because it was all
Hmm.
about building relationship. You have to
Hmm.
make sure that doctors, which are providers, are connecting. When that data is
Hmm.
connecting, you have to figure out how to build some of those relationships. It's
That's
very
that
important.
is so true.
Yeah.
I was just thinking how multifaceted health insurance really is, more so than the healthcare providers. health insurance includes that. They own healthcare providers even now. It's all of it's one big universe, and the health insurance companies own that. And
Yes.
so I was just thinking, I was there 14 years the first time, and just all the different roles I had. I was a trainer. I did claims. I did data analysis. I was a project manager. I was this. So it was so many different roles. So that's actually a good type of company to get into, like you said, for those relationships, and for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And by being able to work with a lot of data sets, I started getting very familiar of where data was at certain tables, different things. So eventually, just to make a long story short, the way that helped me transition in teaching is when one of the not an older principal, he was my high school principal. He understand that I knew data and databases, and his best friend, or one of his good friends, became the superintendent of one of the schools in district.
Okay, come on, connected. Networking is important, guys. Don't ever burn bridges, and not even in a negative way, but don't lose contact with folks. Not because you think they can do something for you, but because sometimes they can. Keep those relationships. He said his high school, his high school teacher and coaches and things, fast forward, became a road to those. You got to keep those relationships because it really matters long term.
Oh yeah, you're talking about almost, you can look at like 20 years, almost 15 years later, my old high school principal.
Was that how long it was?
Oh yeah, it was probably around about, it was around about probably like 15. So he came back and asked me to help come run their IT certification program for the high school.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, so it was
just like, from those, we're going to talk about relationships a lot, guys. When we hear the word relationship, it's not always about dating relationships. There's family relationships, there's friends, but then there's those networking and those professional relationships. And a lot of times we, especially people of color, don't always know the value of or know how to maintain those relationships, not in a selfish way. What can you do for me? But just in a way of, that's how the world goes around. That's how wealthy people do things. They know a person, and that's the only criteria. I know them. That's what happened for Vernon, is he knew the guy knew him. He was like, that's the dude. So you got the job and you left me. You left me at work.
But
I was happy for you though. I was happy. I was like, go, because when you came back, you were more valuable to the company, were you not?
Yeah, what was more valuable? Yeah, it was more valuable. And at first, you have to look at this. At the time that we were coming up through the ranks in certain departments, you didn't see, and this is not to get into the black or white issue or anything, but you didn't see a lot of minorities or black people in leadership positions. I was one of the first manager supervisors in that area. You remember? I mean, it took, sometimes we didn't always get those positions. And I thought that I should have had a higher position at one time. And that was more a little bit played into, just thinking and looking at other places. And it's not to say that the company is bad. It could be an area. It could be a supervisor, a manager, a director, a VP of an area.
One person holding up the one bottleneck.
Exactly. It could be the one bottleneck that's holding it up. So it's not to say anything bad about the company or any of those things. It's just to point out that what's reality, And me, I'm the type of person, I'm not really a person who gets intimidated, if the CEO comes around, he asks me, do you think, what do we need to improve here? And I'm like, you really want my opinion?
And if he
says yes, I'm gonna give it to him. I'm a straight up person, and I've actually had that happen with the VP before. And the VP later pulled me over to the side and he said, you know what? Everybody in that room was trying to figure out ways not to tell me something.
Isn't that something?
And he said, I can't, he said, you were straight up.
Yes.
he said, keep doing that. He said, I'm glad you did that. He said, because everybody else they were intimidated. And he said, I can
Yes.
tell that you're not, you know,
You should
and
not
Melanie will
be.
probably
You
tell
have
you,
no,
I
yes,
walked around the building like I was the CEO. I used to walk
Coach,
around.
and you should, because if that, and I love how this ties in with entrepreneurship, which we're both entrepreneurs, is you have to behave as the person you are becoming, or you will never get there. Like, there's no reason why you should ever be intimidated by a CEO. That's a man, that's a woman. As they say, they put their pants legged on one at a time, like everybody else. You don't act, I always say, I treat everybody the same. If I see the cleaning person, I'm gonna speak to them and engage them. If I see the CEO in the elevator, I remember one time it happened with the CEO at the company we work at, and I didn't act different because I saw him. I was like, hey, how you, you're a person. Everybody deserves respect, but not this, oh, that's him. Oh, we got to shape up. Do what you do. Like, if you wasn't already shaped up, it's too late now. But yeah, you, like you said, you carried yourself the same everywhere. A lot of times people in positions of power, they get tired of people always kowtowing to them. They respect a person who actually will stand, and it wasn't even an argument or anything negative. They asked your opinion. Everybody else is a yes man, a yes woman, or well, I don't want to say the wrong thing. How can it be wrong if it's what's in your mind? What you think can never be wrong. That somebody else might not agree with it. It may not fit into the situation you're talking about, but it can never be wrong. So if someone ever asks for your opinion, give it. With confidence, because they
give it with confidence, and not that it's so much that it's not based on facts. You know, when there's a time that you want to give your opinion, but you want to, especially when you're dealing with things that can control processes and how the outcomes could be different for people. So
because here's what's true: it's the people at the well, they say at the bottom. I hate to say at the bottom, but the front facing people, your customer service folk, your billing folk, just people that are actually doing most of the work. You guys know what needs to be changed. The suits at the top don't. Why? They don't do those jobs. They're not seeing what you're seeing. So if you ever have an opportunity, and really sometimes you can create your own opportunity to create change. Why? Because it's going to affect your job. All they care about is the bottom line. They will actually appreciate you telling them, yo, this is what's happening on the front line. This is why money is being hemorrhaged out of the company. If y'all fix this, you'll get somewhere. A lot of times they will listen. It may not happen fast, because when it's a big company, just like trying to turn the Titanic, they saw the iceberg, it was too late, because by the time they turned it, it swiped aside. So it can take a long time to turn a ship. And it may not be turned the way you think it should, but if you ever have an opportunity, I have a friend who's an HR director. She's listening, hey, you know who you are. But I remember she was telling me she was reading comments, I think she said like 1,300 employee surveys that they did at the company she works for. And I appreciated that she didn't have there probably were other people read them as well, but she wanted to read those and make change because she truly wants to do that. And so when you have the opportunity to give your opinion, give it often, because the first time you say it, it may not take, but the 30th time, they're going to listen for the same reason that they play the same commercials over and over. Repetition for emphasis. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, all of these little sayings, but it's so true. If you can affect processes, that's when you can make real change.
Yeah, and I remember hearing this one time where Bill Gates, was it Bill Gates? I think it was Bill Gates. He said whenever he had something new that he wanted to create, or that he was trying to make sure to see if it was efficient or not, he would take it down to this one guy that he knew always was trying to find a workaround, because he valued staying. He didn't want to stay at the job that long, So he always figured out the quickest way to be able to solve the problem or fix it, because he was like, man, I'm not staying here all day and doing all this stuff. And it wasn't the people who were at the top. Sometimes it was that person who was in it day to day, just like me. I figured out processes very quickly. So even though you may have these requirements, that requirement, usually my brain worked in a way like I was like, oh, okay, this. Oh, if you slice right here,
Yep.
this cuts the time down. If you do this, that,
Yeah.
and that's the way, like most of the time it does work. So,
Yeah.
Melanie,
Absolutely.
what are some of the things that working at our previous company, what did it do to help
The
you?
company that remained, we won't name, like, you remember that movie, The Village? They were like, the color that we won't name. That movie was
Hey, you know
hilarious.
what? Y'all better not flood our comments with nah,
Oh my
nah,
gosh,
you
do
can't,
not
you can't.
say it, y'all.
Yeah. And we know who it is, and and we're not even saying it's a good thing. We're
It's a
saying
good thing.
positive
Yeah. We
thing.
just, anytime you name people, name companies, you gotta, it can always go left. So I was there 14 years and I did a variety of jobs. Again, started in claims. Then I was a trainer. Now that job I loved. I was there for 3 years. Loved training the new hires. I enjoyed it. I only stopped being a corporate trainer because it was starting to affect my speaking voice, talking all day, every day. And I'm a singer in the rest of my life. And that was more important. So I transitioned out of that. And I might have, I can't remember where I went after that. I'd have to really look at my resume, but ended up working with you. And then, eventually became a project manager. And what was interesting about project management, I didn't even know that was a job. Like if I had known that initials IDW, and I had a conversation, you probably know who he is, but I had a conversation with him one day and he was talking about it and he kind of said, have you ever considered project management? I'm like, what is that? And that was when everybody was kind of flooding into project management, getting into project management certifications. I did it. I love project management. And what I realized after I learned that it was an actual career is that I had been doing it my whole life. I've been an event planner for 20 something years.
Yeah.
Well, event planning is project management. You go into an event and you got to do all these things and you got scope, you got budget, you got, all the tasks that lead up to it. And then there's the event. So I've been doing it for years. Enjoyed project management as a discipline, not necessarily always the projects I was working on, the topics of them, but I enjoyed the work. Then I was part of our company is notorious for layoffs, honey. They will hire 600 people over here and lay off 1,000 over there in the same month, honey. They've been known for that for years. So I got laid off. And of course, when you get laid off, at least at that company, they give you severance based on your number of years that you've worked there. And so I was able to get a check for like 6 more months without fail after I got let go. So I was actually happy about it, right? Some people were upset. There were tears. There were worry. I was glad. I ran out of there. I called. I think it was my son.
You got skill sets. You got skill sets.
And here's the thing.
Skill sets. You don't work. You don't get caught.
You don't worry about it. And here's the other thing, Bernie. I have been wanting to be an entrepreneur for years. I've always been starting businesses, nonprofits, doing stuff on the side. Been doing graphic design since the 90s, but never really knew how to make that. Let me tell you something. We're going to talk about this a lot on this podcast, is the need for a coach. We always want to try to figure things out on ourselves. If it were that easy, everybody would have what they want. You have to be willing to learn from someone else and not just trying to nickel and dime it, YouTube your way to success. You have to have professional coaches, and it's not always free. You need to invest in yourself so that people will be willing to invest in you be the customer that you want to have. Not gonna get off on that tangent.
Coach too. Make sure
and it's the right coach.
Right coach.
Right. And have many of them.
Yeah.
A lot of fakes and phonies. So you have to, and we're probably gonna do an episode on that. I've done it on my YouTube channel already, how to find the right coach for you. But thinking you can just figure out, let me tell you something, and I'm off on a tangent, but even the entrepreneurs who are successful who don't say, I had a coach. If they sat down with you, they would tell you all the people who were mentors to them through the years. Nobody is successful figuring it out on their own. You can tell yourself that. It is not true. It will take you years and years, and you're going to spend way more money and time messing things up than if you invested in getting some help. But anyway, I had wanted to be a coach, as a matter of fact. People say, oh, you'd be good as a coach. So anyway, when I got my layoff notice, I was glad I ran out of there. And I had already actually hired a coach to show me how to become a coach. About a week before I got laid off, I had invested in this coaching program. So I was off to the races. But what I had learned from working at that company all those years, and even companies before that. And I had been a temp, and I'd done so many things in my career. I've driven forklifts. I've got so many things I've done. Again, it's about relationships. That's really the currency of success. It's about relationships and communication. And no matter what job I was doing at the company, whether I liked it or not, I was learning relationships. There are people besides Bernie. I have many people who I'm at least still connected to, or people that I can call and hang out with who I met at that company. Remember they used to have that thing, they had that, I think it was the employee engagement survey, and they would ask, who's your best friend at work? And there were people who were resistant to that question because they didn't like the idea. I don't like none of my coworkers. I'm just here to get a check. First of all, that's the wrong mentality.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to limit you. The second thing is everybody has a person who you hang out with around the water cooler, you IMing, or the boss does something ridiculous. You know what that fool did. That's your best friend at work. Okay, so I didn't have
I had a lot of those at that place.
Listen, you had to. Or how you gonna survive? I don't know how people survive when they don't talk to their coworkers. Like, and you ain't got to be y'all don't have to be hanging out on the weekends, but you need somebody at work who's a confidant, or just somebody who gets it. I cruised by many a desk cubicle and stood and talked when something ridiculous was happening. Like, did you see that? Or even not talking about work, just talking about life. I can think of people right now who I met there, who I know. So having those relationships really helped. And then again, a lot of the skill sets that I used at work, I use in my business. Because as soon as you start a business, you're the CEO. And a lot of people want to, or they think they want to own their own business, but really, they just don't want anybody telling them what to do, but they really are job mentality. But they don't know what it's like to create the work versus to have somebody just telling you what to do and paying you every 2 weeks.
So that's going to be a good one when we hit that topic.
We unpack that. That's going to be good. But yeah, those relationships and learning how to communicate. One of the things that this company is good at is having what they refer to as network resource groups. Some companies call them affinity groups, but they are just kind of special interest groups within the company. They might have them for LGBT people, or for Black people, Hispanics, caregivers, people that were in the military, all these different groups. And you have a space within the place where you work to address you guys' issues. It's almost like a huge support group, but it's people at your company who have that thing in common with you, or people who are allies of those particular groups. And so I participated in the one that was for African Americans, and I was actually on the leadership team. I was one of the communications co-leads. And I've seen this theme happen a lot in my career. I am passionate, if we could even use that word for this, about communications. I want them to be clear, professional. I want them to be right. I want them to come out and, I want people to be communicated to often and clearly. I want transparency. I'm all about it. So I'm always grading people's emails, and I judge people based on how they spell words.
Then Melanie, why are we even here right now? Because my words are I just sometimes be talking on, I be talking on the phone sometimes. I be like, say this and don't hit the scene. Don't even look at check.
And I judge you. I think I'm better than you because of that. No, but yeah, I'm that. But you know what? And we need to do this one as an episode. There are things that you are good at that you take for granted because it's just natural to you, or it's something you've known it and it's always been important to you. It's not that way for other people. That just means that's your area of mastery. That's your area of genius. Step into it instead of only being frustrated when people do stuff. Find a niche within that. Yes. And so even now I'm on my homeowners association board and I'm over communications. And so I'm passionate about it. It needs to look right. It needs to, let's look professional. Yes, this is not just a neighborhood. I think our neighborhood's fabulous. Let's be professional when we communicate out there. So, but one of those things one of those skill sets, that communication skill set I built while working there. I love a good corporate clapback, honey. Literally, I'm telling you that you think it's funny. When I left, when I was laid off at the end of 2017, I said, the only thing I will miss about working at this company or working for anybody else is corporate clapbacks. Listen, you know how people get to replying to all, CCing folk, BCCing folk. I have added both of our leaders for maximum transparency pursuant to my previous email. Here's where you're wrong. I love the good corporate clapback, because you can say things in your personal life. You can't really say it in a business sense, and you might get fired. Or you lose the respect of your coworkers. But there's a way to let people know they're an idiot without actually using the word idiot.
No, and you have to do that at certain times within organization, just because it can go down the wrong path. A prime example of this is, I think we talked about this last week a little bit when me and you were having a discussion, when I said Jay-Z said about information, that we can find these information. We got all this access to so much information, but do people have understanding of that information? Because if they don't have understanding of that information, it could be wrong and lead you down the wrong path. You also have to know where you're getting that information from, because if they don't have understanding, you're getting it from the wrong person, it can still lead you down the wrong path. Because if you don't know what you need to know what you need to know, and you get it from the wrong person, it could take you down a different path. So let's go ahead and go over to the other topics real quick.
Dude, you wrote down a few things. Are we gonna talk about the recession?
Yeah, you want to go ahead and do that?
Let's talk about,
I'm gonna let you go ahead and kick this one off. It was like, are we in a
recession? So the last time we were in a recession, it's always funny, like I guess it's the economists and all the political commentators and stuff who decide, okay, we are in a recession. But I remember 2008, that's when I bought my first house, or not long before that, I bought my first house, and then, they were doing those crazy adjustable rate mortgages and all that crazy stuff, and that house of cards crashed. Recessions a lot of times are centered around real estate. Are houses selling? Are they not? And just in this COVID season that we've been in the last over 2 years, we've seen housing prices skyrocket, even in my neighborhood, right? They're paying to live in this neighborhood over twice what I paid just 5 years ago. I tell everybody right now, I joke with them, I was like, you tell your neighbors, or I tell my neighbors to tell their friends and family, we live in a $500,000 neighborhood, because that's what they're paying to get in here now. Now, we didn't pay that, but you see the home prices, and not just home prices, everything is going up. It's groceries, the supply chains got all screwed up because of COVID. So now you can't get things. So shelves are empty in the grocery stores. Prices are going up. And are we in a recession? There's always going to be this bubble that keeps swelling. And then, of course, it has to break. And then everything kind of falls and it goes the other way. You just don't want to get into a depression. Recession is not as bad as a depression like they had in the 30s. But
exactly, 30s,
yeah, are we in a recession? The gas prices, of course, we know they've been manipulating those things for decades. Like, I remember the first time I saw $3 and something for gas. It was right after 9/11, and they were gouging the people.
I remember that,
for gas prices. And one guy was like, "Oh, I raised the price to scare people away so I wouldn't run out of gas." Yeah, that makes sense. You could just close your gas station, but that's okay. You keep telling yourself that, but. So now we're seeing, I paid $5 a gallon just recently. Fortunately, it's dropped down a little bit in these last couple of weeks, but we see gas price, everything has gone up. And when gas goes up, everything has to go up, because the trucks that ship everything to everywhere run on gas. Whether it's diesel is even higher than gasoline right now. Sometimes diesel is less. Right now it's more, they're paying $6, $7, $8 a gallon. So that's going to make everything in the stores. It's all intertwined. And are we in a recession? If we're not, I'm wondering what the next step would have to be for us to be. I feel like we are in a type of recession, to where, because I know I heard recently that my builder who's developing my subdivision has started to slow down. Like this builder, he builds a wonderful home, a quality home, and he can't build them fast enough. He said the building industry has not recovered from '08. A lot of builders went out of business back then, and the inventory of homes in this country has never recovered. We've always been behind the need. And so he's constantly building, but right now it's kind of slowing down a little bit. I think they hiked the interest rates up. So now people are backing off from buying houses. So now the builders can slow down, which is gonna put people out. So it sounds like it's starting to maybe level out. Dare I say that? I am not an economist. I'm not an expert on this, but just kind of watching it.
We're not experts in this.
We're not experts. We're consumers though. Yes. And we can see, for sure, you know, what's going. I mean, why are these homes literally the same house that I could have bought? Because I bought a house on a slab across the street. Our houses just like mine that are on basements, and I wish I had bought one. They were like $269, $279 in 2017 when I bought my house. That same exact house, same floor plan, same everything, right now is selling for $525,000 in my neighborhood 5 years later. Nothing has changed. The neighborhood is essentially the same. That kind of price hike, for whatever reasons, I know during COVID, a lot of companies weren't open, so they could not produce building materials as fast, fencing and siding and bricks. All of that has to be made by people who now could not go to work. And so it took longer to build that. So it was just all this stuff. So prices went up, supply and demand, you know, supply goes down, you know, the prices are gonna go through the roof. So what do you think? You think we're in a recession?
Are we really in a recession? Okay, if we go by the economists, they'll say what, if you have 2 consecutive quarters of GDP at a negative, then we're in a recession.
Are we in
Technically, we are. Just because we did have, the numbers came out on the 28th of July, say that, you know, that we had a small negative, a negative in the second quarter. So we have two quarters consecutive. So that means that technically you're in a recession. Okay. Do I think that we are in recession? It's kind of a little tricky. I'm kind of with you. It's a little tricky right now because you in mid-July, beginning of July, you've seen the stock market, boom. It did take a massive hit. You've seen the cryptocurrency go way down. You've seen a lot of your portfolio started to go down a little bit. One of the things that I think we haven't seen yet to make us know that we're truly in a recession, I do think that we're about to have a real bad recession though. So I do think in the next 12 to 18 months.
I'll just come over and live with you. And
well, no, but if you did it right, and I know you did, if you saved, you're good. The problem is everybody went out and bought Bentleys, got their bodies done. They used their PPE to get all.
Oh gosh, don't talk about the PPP loans, Lord.
Everybody
got the BBLs.
Got the BB. It was the BBLs. They was talking about people using PPE,
living their best life. And everybody wants to go to Dubai. If I see one more part, nothing wrong with it. One day I'll probably visit. But the cliche of I gotta go to Dubai. There are so many great places between now and there and 10,000 miles away. Like, dude, why? Don't be a follower, be a leader.
Exactly. So, but a lot of people, you know, they spent a lot of money. They didn't save. You look at like you said, with the housing prices, you went for where interest rates were at an all-time low. So you had so many people who came in 2020 and 2021 and just bought in the market. You're at 2% interest rates. So everybody flooded to buy homes and buy new. Builders couldn't build as fast. So then what happened? You know, we start to do it. Interest rates now are what? They're going up. So now that they have
to do that.
They charge.
They do that to. They have to stop this from happening, right? Because I wouldn't be able to afford to live in my own neighborhood.
But no time in history have you ever had your equity grow as fast and stay high.
I wanted to sell I wanted to sell at one point, but then sellers become buyers. So all the profit would have went right into the next house.
Well,
I'm like,
I say to me, and I'm like I said, I'm not an economist and nothing like that. So I say if anytime the person was gonna buy or sell, it would have to be in right in the January to December, January of this year.
okay.
The timing. You would have had it right at the top of the market, and you still could be at the top of the
Oh
market.
yeah, the houses. You remember the
And then
bidding wars?
you better hope that next year you think the economy is going to go down in the next 6 months to 12. Interest rates have to go up because you have to correct the quantitative easing. And if you don't know what quantitative easing, that's what happened during the pandemic. During the pandemic, we flooded the country with money. We had to put all the money.
And then little stimulus checks and
Yeah,
stuff.
who's paying for that? Where's that money coming from? Yeah,
Huh?
exactly. It's coming from us. It's coming
It's
from
coming
the
from us.
from the
People
from
think the
us.
government has money that
No,
from
yeah,
somewhere.
that's
It's their tax
quantitative.
dollars.
Yeah,
They
can
technically
money.
can't give you anything. They are us.
Yeah, yeah.
There is no they. Like there's politicians that make decisions, but people like the government needs to do such and such. Well, you're one of the people in the government. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a separate entity that's got this bowl of money that it's your money. It's the money that comes out of your paycheck, the money you pay April 15th out of your business. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
and so we have to get away from like I said, the quantitative easing where they just flooded the money and put money that wasn't there, that they printed money because the government can print and be able to distribute that money out. So one, we have to correct inflation. So right now we have very high inflation where grocery stores, everything's is so overpriced. So, that has to be come back. That has to be real back. You have to let companies fail right now. We continuously have bailed out companies. 2008, we should have let companies fail. We didn't.
Right.
And
Bailout.
yeah,
Bailout.
now we should it's coming back to bite us. And I think it's the same things right now. Companies that are not performing good, if we want to save our economy and be still the power, we have to let the companies fail. Yeah.
And a lot of companies did fail in COVID because when they couldn't be open.
Yeah.
Like restaurants, just a lot of those restaurants that depend on people to physically come, they did fail, and they will never. Some of them will never reopen, but it opened up.
I think we need big companies to fail. The big companies, because they're getting the best. Like even when the PPP loan stuff went out, we'll go ahead and blame the little small business people. Yeah, we'll blame those. But the people who got that money first, those bank wires went to the big companies first. That money went
I can think of one. Yeah, they have to think of one restaurant chain in particular. Is a location in downtown Louisville. They were applying for PPP loans on the strength of each restaurant is a small business. No, y'all have thousands of employees nationwide, but they were manipulating the system. And I think they actually gave some money back because it went to the news. But there's a bunch of companies that did get caught that did that. On the little form, they say, "Oh yeah, we're a small bit." No, you're not. You have 100 locations. You're not a small business, but so it hurt. So we are at time for our dial down. This is our little segment we're gonna do at the end. You gonna cue it up for us?
With the 5 minutes left. Yep. And so the only thing to end that topic, just to say, hey, save your money.
Oh yes, save your money. Pay yourself first. That's hard to do. It's hard to do. Pay yourself. Pay yourself 20% of your check. Put it away.
All right. So the wind down, is that what we can call it that.
The wind down, honey.
Yeah, the wind down.
The
wind down. All right. So we're gonna give you 2 healthy tips. Well, I don't know if we would say tips. What we're gonna tell you about something healthy you should eat or put into your body, and then we're gonna tell you about something healthy you should do. The very first
athlete, Vernon's an athlete, and I actually am a plant-based eating. I wouldn't say expert, but I'm into that, and I exercise as well. So none of this stuff we're going to talk about. Nothing in life matters if you don't have your health. Health is wealth. You can't do any of these things if you're not here or if you're sick. So we want to make sure that you guys are staying on topic. So on top of your health.
Choice that I want to have for this week is, I think mine is turmeric. So turmeric, you could either take turmeric with a capsule, or you can take turmeric where you can use it as a seasoning on your food.
I love turmeric.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
used it the
turmeric
other
is,
day.
oh
It doesn't
man,
have a really strong taste, so you can put it on a lot of different stuff. It's in Indian food a lot.
yeah,
And
a lot of
turmeric.
a lot of Jamaican food.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
turmeric gives it is really good for, like, when you're thinking about, like, our body's made up of a lot of mucus. So we
Mhm.
want to control the mucus. We want to control the inflammation. Turmeric
Yeah.
is really good for that. I mean,
Yes.
it really is good for that. I'm not
Mhm.
going to tell you everything about turmeric. What me and Melly want you to do is go out there. When we tell you, Google and see what all it does. MJ, the coach, is gonna say, you know what? I like this. VJ Rock. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you that I like this. So go out there and
Yeah.
look at turmeric. Turmeric is the one that I think that you should use for this week. That's my
Yeah.
healthy food or seasoning, whatever we're gonna call it eventually.
Yes. And I'm a tack on to that. When you brought up the mucus and the buildup in our body, is another one that goes along with turmeric is ginger. Fresh ginger, the
Sure.
little, they call them knuckles. It's kind of gross, but in the store you can buy it. It looks like a little hand,
Yeah, I
but
love it.
it's very good, and you can put it in so many things. You can grate it. You can
Yeah,
put it in juices. I know whenever I am juicing, I'll throw a couple of knuckles of ginger in it, and it gives it a little zing, almost like soda, not quite as strong as carbonation, but gives it a little zing, a little pep to it. Ginger is really good. Again, look up the benefits, but I know anti-mucus, it's anti-inflammatory. It has so many benefits.
yes.
Health is at your fingertips, and most diseases start at the end of our forks. And I know it's tempting to want a pill to solve it, then you got to have another pill for the side effects of that one, then it ends up you on 10 pills.
Yeah.
And what you really could do is just change how you're eating
Your
to improve
lifestyle.
your life.
Change your
Change your
lifestyle.
lifestyle. It's
Yeah.
not worth it. It's not worth dying over something that you're eating.
Yeah.
So ginger and turmeric.
Yep, that's it. That's
the
the
one
two.
for this week.
Yeah, and the other one is the exercise move of the day. I mean, for the week, and
Uh-huh.
mine is walking and running.
Yes.
It can be
The
in place.
basics.
Yeah, and it can be in place. Prime example: you can
Yep.
just
Come
walk,
on. Yes.
or you can run in place. Either
That's
one of
what people,
those
that's
is
amazing.
is what I'm talking about. It doesn't mean that if you like to go out and walk, go out and walk. If you like to go out and run, run. If you just want to stay inside your living room, you can walk in
Yes.
place and you can run in
Yes.
place.
You can walk if you have a big space in your, or it don't have to be a big space in your, you can walk in and out of your rooms, walk around your great room, your living room, just whatever it takes, walk around the block. That movement matters. Your body needs you to move. The one I was thinking about, shameless plug, I teach a line dancing class. I fell in love with line dancing. When I say line dance, everybody always talks about country music, and that's funny to me. Black people are always doing line dances. What do you think? Electric slide and cha-cha and wobble baby. When there's a bunch of a group of people doing the same thing, that's a line dance. Okay, so it's not, yes, they do have it for country music. I don't know any country music line dancing, but I will do R&B, hip hop, and the whatever music. But line dancing is a great way to burn calories, get your heart rate up, and it's so fun that you don't realize that's what you're doing. If I'm line dancing to song after song, different routines, I can burn 300 calories in an hour. It's easy for me to line dance for an hour. I don't like doing any other type of cardio for an hour, but that I can do. It's fun, and it works on some of your fine motor movements as well. Balancing and remembering routines is actually helping with your memory, and actually helps with your calves because you're doing all this spinning and turning. You don't have to do it right. You don't have to do it perfect, but go online and just do a line dance. Go on YouTube and just do some line dancing, because that's a great way to exercise. We are at time, Vernon. We made it.
We made it. We made it. We made it. And
This was fun.
Yeah, this is
Guys,
fun.
remember to, I guess he opened, I'm closing. Remember, subscribe to our podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe there, find our podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're catching a clip of this somewhere else, just go like us and comment, subscribe, do all the things, and share it. Share it. And if you have any ideas for topics you want to hear us talk about, go ahead and put it in the comments, because we're open. This is about me and my good friend talking. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. And so we want to know what you want to hear about. So comment, subscribe, like it, share it, and we will see you next time. Is that it, Vernon?
Yeah, we out of here.
All right. Bye, y'all.